It's 8 minutes to go. Wow. We could pregame. Incidentally, are there any people under the age of 18 in the audience right now? Okay, out. Because I can't do the second half in the nude. I'll wear the tie. The long tie. I stole that from Victor Borge. God bless his heart, wherever he is. There you go. It's okay, we got plenty of time. You can sit right there. Yeah. Pardon me. The stage is sticky. I missed the opening ceremonies, now I'm sorry I did. It is Great Britain. Oh, what's all this about?
They're Vulcan's targets, I believe.
Targets?
Targets for Vulcan.
Is it all right if I move this one a little bit? It's stuck. Well, I'm rather fucked, aren't I? Excuse me, Canada? What the hell did Canada ever do to anybody? Well, they fucked us up, okay? But I mean, other than that, burning the White House. I have Canadian friends, they won't let me forget that. Spain. Spain still exists. Ah! They don't want me near the map. That's their. Woo. My goodness. Ah! Is that doing that for everybody else? So how are you all? I got burned by this once before. Okay. Anybody know Alkaline? Big Jewish guy with a top hat? He did that to me because he knows I'm a habitual watcher. This watch is older than everybody in this room, by the way. I was holding a glass of water. And he said, Kage, quick, what time is it? Oh. Can you get him back? I'll get you back. Next time we were on stage, I'm sitting over here, I said, Alkali, quick, what time is it? He said, oh, it's, what we planned. Incidentally, how many folk have no idea in hell who I am or why I'm up here? Well, that's a relief. Okay. For the rest of you, why the hell are you here? You should know what you're in for. I'm gonna curse, just so you know. I'm gonna say some 4-letter words. See, in my country, you can't say cunt. I'm so relieved. I even called the lady at the front desk. It was amazing. It's okay, we haven't started yet. I'm just freaking get myself ready. See, most performers, they start out like backstage and dark back there. I don't want to be back there, it's dark. We'll spill your drink. Hi YouTube, how are you? I got a list of stories here. It's just titles to remind me, so I don't come up here and say, But I was told that I did a story hour here in 2017. Are you sure? Yes. Because I have absolutely no memory of that. I don't know why. Did I tell the story of Sunny Khan?
Yes. The chaps.
Then I don't need to tell it again. All right, who hasn't heard the story? All right, that's enough. The rest of you, go to the bar, top off your drinks. I'll start with that, and we'll finish up about a quarter of the hour. How's that sound? It's from my era, this music. I used to think this was cool. Yes, I am a child of the 60s. All right. Someone out there is saying right now, ooh, that's the age my father was. Fuck you. I used to be young, but I don't remember it. Old people generally don't remember being young, which is why they're always so down on young people. Because they've forgotten what it's like to be young. That's the advantage of being in the furry family. You guys remind me every day, and I thank you for it. And you buy me drinks. I love you for that. Even if it's... This is actually not a rosé, this is a white Zinfandel. It's a California wine. It's actually a red grape, but they peel the skin off and do God knows what with it, and they make wine with the rest. It is not good. As a matter of fact, it's rather foul. But it's better than the stuff they've got in the bottles, I hate to say. I was at the bar the other night, and some very, very kind person said, I'll buy you some wine. And I said to the barman, what do you have? He said, we have Pinot Grigio. I said, well, that's setting the tone for this entire weekend, isn't it? Any fans of the catering show will recognize a little mnemonic. Pinot Grigio and Pinot Gris. Pinot Grigio is bottled in Italy, Pinot Gris is bottled in France. It's the same grape. The difference between the two is how long the grape is left on the vine. Pinot Grigio is made from grapes that are harvested early in the year. It tends to be rather dry because the grape hasn't produced a lot of sugar. Pinot Gris is made from grapes that are left on the vine until the end of the season. The grape has then produced a lot more sugar, and the wine is sweeter and less dry. The way to remember it is Pinot Grigio is made from grapes that are harvested early because the Italians are fiery and passionate, want things right away. Yep. Pinot Gris is made from late harvested grapes because the French are lazy.
That's right.
I didn't make that up. That comes from a couple of Australian girls. You can yell at them. And for my French friends out there, pardonnez-moi, je suis coupable, va tout faire foutre. Somebody speaks French, thank you. Is it time yet? Yes! Oh, it's time! Sorry. I like to start on time, which is why your reference is such hell for me. I found out why, by the way. Okay. Why does nothing start at Eurofluence on time? They're German, for God's sake. They're supposed to be efficient. I did find out because one year I was doing their auction. I'm going to start the auction whether you're ready or not. And I started the auction. I was auctioning imaginary items to an imaginary audience, thinking I would make my point, and it didn't. And at one point, one of the technicians jumped up on the stage. And I said, excuse me, can we at least seat the audience? He said, not yet, the sound is not perfect. All has become clear to me now. There's a hum on the stage monitor. I'm the only one who can hear it. And I said, it doesn't matter. He said, it does matter, there's a hum. I like the hum. It's nice, I want to hear it. He said, we cannot have it, it's not supposed to be there. I said, all right. Let's turn the monitor off. We cannot do that! The stage monitor must be on existence, the stage directions. I said, can't you just turn the damn thing off? He said, no, I cannot turn off the stage monitor without directions. I said, this is why you lost the fucking war, you understand? By the way, for those of you who have just arrived, I'm Uncle Kage. I don't know why. I also don't know why I'm up here, but I'm going to keep doing what I do, and that is drink and talk until I can't do either anymore. I'm also going to piss off the cameraman because I'm going to move around a lot. They hate that. Before I begin, in case you couldn't tell from my outrageous accent, I am from the United States, and I would like to take this moment to apologize on behalf of the President of the United States for his behavior to Her Majesty. I don't care if you're a royalist or not, it doesn't matter. Every American down to the lowest level of society knows you don't treat an old lady that way. So please do not judge us on our choice of politicians. As it says in the Bible, judge not lest ye be judged. Yes. You heard the ominous silence after that, didn't you?
No, we just give it up.
We're going to try that tactic someday. All right. In the pregame, I asked people if I told the story of Sonny Khan, and half the people said yes, and the other half the people, fuck you, I don't care. So if you've heard the story before, I apologize. It'll be the same story, because all of my stories are absolutely certified 105% true by the National Institute of Standards and Technology. I'm a scientist, I'll fight you. That's why I wear this coat, that's what I do. I get invited to conventions all over the world to do this. Invited to go around the world and drink yourself into a stupor. I got it good. But I received an invitation from something called SunnyCon. It's an anime convention. And I was like, I've never been invited to an anime convention before. And, oh look, it's on the seashore. A seaside hotel, and it's in the summertime. This is gonna be great. SunnyCon, naturally. So I packed my Speedo and my beach towel and my umbrella and my suntan lotion and my thong shoes, and I went to the beautiful tropical land of Sunderland. I was so excited. When I landed, you see, I run a convention, it's called Anthrocon, so I know how this shit works. I got to the airport, and I looked around because I'm a guest and there's supposed to be someone to meet me. I saw a young fellow who was sitting in the corner like this. I said, that's a convention staffer. I know that look. So I went up and I said, hello? And he said, oh, Dr. Kage, Uncle Conway, sorry, hello. I said, I know who you are, it's all right. It's fine, let's just go. So the poor fellow, he looked like he hadn't slept in decades. He insisted on taking my bag, and he was dragging my bag, and he started to make conversation. Have you ever been talking and not realize that you're talking?
Yeah.
You know that? Because he's walking along, he said, oh, you're in luck. We actually have a room for you. You won't have to bunk with the staff. I said, sorry, the plan was to have me bunk with the staff, and he stopped, and I saw in his face, oh my God, I said that out loud. I said, first time in Sunderland? I said, yes, I'm looking forward to going to the beach. And he said, how nice, let's continue on, shall we? I found out later that I was arriving on Friday morning. They had two guests, big name guests, anime, Hollywood. There was a guest who was coming Friday and Saturday, and then a guest who was coming Saturday and Sunday. And I knew that these were big name guests because if you went to their guest webpage, there was luminary guest number 1 and luminary guest number 2, and then if you scroll down, oh, and Uncle Kage. It's okay. I know I'm a B-lister in the anime. I'm even a C-lister in the anime fan, for God's sake. I understand. I'm not offended. But the guest who was going to be there from Friday and Saturday had canceled on them. And since I was arriving in the morning, they were going to have me put my bag into a staff member's room and then get my hotel room that night. I like my version of the story better. It sounded a lot better. So we're walking away. I said, so if that guest has canceled, what do you have? And he said, you. I said, well, you're really in a pickle, aren't you? So what should I do? He said, whatever it is you do that we invited you for. I said, I got that covered. As long as you do. So we got to the con site. I got to check into my hotel room. The hotel was located down the street from the convention site. And I had some time to myself. It's like, beach! So I put on my Speedo, and I put on my thong sandals, and I got my beach towel, and I put on my suntan lotion, and I ran out onto the beach in sunny tropical Sunderland. And I looked down, and I was like, wow. This is very different from beaches where I come from. We have fewer icebergs. Not quite as many Viking longboats coming in. I didn't stay long on the beach. I've been wondering when I flew over why there was nobody on the beach. I thought it was the off season. I found out there isn't actually an on season, but I also found out, oh my God. Please, if you're going to invite me somewhere, give me a primer on the local culture. I didn't realize that if you call a Geordie a Markham, he will punch you in the mouth. I found that out. But I had a grand time. They put me in a room very much like this. And the 6 furries at the convention were sitting in the front row. Yay! So I said, okay, I'll do what I do. And the gentleman came up and said, is there anything you need? I said, yes. And he brought it to me. And I started doing what I do. Mainly this. Followed by this. And more of this. Within about an hour, the whole room was full. Which means I'm either good at what I do, or word was spreading there's a drunken Yank in there making Americans look like shit. Probably a mixture. So I had a ball. I also learned a new word. I like to travel to new countries, and I like to learn things. I learned the difference between a Geordie and a Markham. Sorry. And I learned what a chav is. I was so excited. That night, I was shit-faced, okay. And I looked out from the balcony of the hotel, and I saw a bunch of young fellas, and they were wearing gray hoodies and patched blue jeans, and they were kind of gathered together in a secretive fashion. I got excited. I said, excuse me, hello, fellas, would you be chavs? I'll be right down, don't go away. And I ran downstairs. I said, oh, I'm so excited. Hi, I'm new in town. Uncle Kage, they call me. So glad to see you. I've never met a chav before. Can I have a photo? They were cool. They let me have a photo. Then they took my phone, but, you know, it's okay. That was Friday. Saturday, I woke up with a headache, but I do that every day. And I went from my hotel down to the con site, and I was met by that same convention staffer who approached me looking like this. I know this look, too. I said, uh-oh, what happened? He said, the other guest is canceled. You're it. I said, you know what to do. I had fun at SunnyCon that year. They invited me back the following year, and this time my name was listed first. It's okay. Every convention needs a furry. Unless they can't afford the bar tab, in which case, no problem. Is Code Wolf out there? Oh, fuck. I promised I would tell this story. Code Wolf, he's a security guy, right? In matter of fact, he's like the security guy. I was going to tell this story just for him, but since he's not here, I'll tell it anyway, and the rest of you can tell him, all right? How's that sound? You might have seen the story on YouTube, because I can't, people put shit on YouTube, and I say, please don't put it on YouTube, and they do anyway. I'm like, oh, whatever. So it's the modern day. But if you've not heard the tale, I am the chairman of Anthrocon. It's a convention in the States somewhere. And about a year and a half ago, or 5 years or 20, I don't, some time ago, it all runs together in my head. As I said, I don't remember a lot, for whatever reason. We had an incident. Anthrocon, because it's a very large convention in an American city, we have a large police presence. Meaning we have large policemen. It's necessary.
Vertical or horizontal?
Okay, the particular police officer I am thinking of is 8.5 feet in every direction. His name is Bill Kisner. He is a very large, as we say, African-American gentleman who probably in his youth played football as the entire football team. Bill is from here on. But he is the friendliest, most genteel fellow, the ideal furry cop. We love him, and he basically runs the official police detail for the convention because he knows which cops are latent furries. It is very useful to have local police who know instinctively the difference between let's go downtown and let's have you go up to your room and sleep it off. Good to know. So Bill is a treasure, and we adore him. We could not exist without him. Bill happened to notice that there was an individual at the convention who was acting oddly. Now here is where I offer an apology on behalf of my generation. Us older folk are still trying to learn the changes that have taken place in society. This particular individual was in transition and apparently hadn't gotten very far, particularly sizable. Apparently this individual preferred to use the female pronouns, so I will use the female pronouns to describe this person, so I'm sorry. Bill saw this lady who was pacing back and forth and muttering to herself and looking particularly agitated, and started to get more agitated with the passing moments. His instincts as a law enforcement officer told him I should monitor the situation. And when things started to appear to get a little tense, Bill went up. Now, I read the official police report, and I read my securities report. I was not there, but I believe the reports that I received. According to the reports, Bill went up, and knowing him, I know this is true, and he said, "Excuse me, miss, you appear to be very upset about something. Can I help you?" And this lady turned around and, I can't say this on camera as an American, but brought into question Bill's African-American heritage, shall we say. Used a word that Americans aren't allowed to use. At which point Bill said, well, Miss, that's kind of unfortunate because having said this, crossed over into the public nuisance category, I'm going to have to ask you please to turn around and put your hands behind your back. At which point the individual jumped him, and they started scuffling on the ground. My security came running. Hotel security came running. Here is where the reports differ. They all agree on two things. One, this, if you can imagine an old Warner Brothers cartoon with a giant cloud of dust with fists and feet coming out of it, that's pretty much what was happening. And from inside this cloud, a voice was heard to say, so that's what pepper spray smells like. The other thing that they agree upon was that this individual started to grab for Bill's service revolver. Now it's a different story. Everybody dogpiled the situation. And now here is where the reports begin to diverge. As the person relating this story, I hope you will allow me the option to pick my favorite version of the stories. Because apparently one of my security folks came running up to assist, and from the cloud with the feet and the fists coming out of it, this individual's artificial breasts came flying out and were caught. The individual was subdued and handcuffed. The first time I told the story, I didn't realize Officer Kisner actually broke his arm in this, Bill, Officer Kisner, he broke his arm. He didn't tell me. That's how professional the man is. He still, with a broken arm, wrote up his report. God bless him. But while he was writing up his report, the security guy came up and said, what am I supposed to do with these here jibbly jobblies? And Bill said, well, they're lost. Put them in lost and found. Let Sam deal with them. The next day, the chairman came downstairs, unaware of the tumult that had transpired the night before. Came downstairs, and as is his habit, checked the lost and found to see if there's anything. Excuse me. Hello. Hi. What are these? And the duty officer looked up from his newspaper and said, oh, that's a pair of jibbly jobblies. I said, well, yes, I can see that. What exactly are they doing in my lost and found? And he folded his newspaper and he said, let me tell you a story, Uncle Kage. 3 months later, I still had these along with a lady's pocketbook in the lost and found. Nobody had claimed either. So I sent an email to Officer Kisner, Bill, and I said, say, Bill, I still got these jibbly jobblies and a purse. What should I do with them? And he said, well, at this point, you can send them here to the department. We'll process them as evidence, and we'll take care of them for you. I said, okay. I should have brought along a paper copy of the letter, because this is business. This is business. I sent a letter along with it. I put these into the pocketbook, and I wrote a letter that said, Dear Officer Kisner, pursuant to our email conversation of date, please find enclosed in this package a lady's pocketbook containing the following items. List. Some items following have been removed to comply with United States Postal Service regulations. Please find also inside a plastic bag containing those items referred to in my prior email as the Ghibli Joblies. And kindly advise me as to their disposition. I wanted to know about the disposition because there was a small detail that I just realized I forgot to mention. When Bill was asked what should be done with the Ghibli Joblies, one report stated that Bill's response was, Sam will look good in those. They didn't fit. Excuse me. Does anybody here a fursuit? Yeah. Does anybody here own an easy cool down vest? Are those amazing or what? I don't mean to be telling stories out of school, but that's what you bring me here for. I was skeptical about the easy cool down vest because, look, I'm a scientist. This couldn't possibly work. Thermodynamics, let me draw you some equations. But at Eurofurence this past year, 2 years ago now actually, excuse me, the air conditioning system caught fire. I'm not making that up, it actually caught fire. Burning, flames, smoke. So naturally I had to turn it off. If you've been to Eurofurence, the Estrel Hotel in Berlin is a giant greenhouse. And it immediately became exceptionally warm in there. I think in the Celsius scale it was like 950 degrees or something like that.
Yeah, sounds about right.
The dealer's room was about 20 degrees hotter. I had promised their co-chair, Night Fox, that I would help him out at the table which he runs down there, Blackpool Productions, selling things. This might as well be a fursuit. I was immediately very uncomfortable, but then I got an idea. You can almost see the light bulb coming off on my head. And I ran down to Easy Wolf. You can recognize Easy Wolf. He's Dutch and he's 80 feet tall. All Dutch people are tall. It's an evolutionary thing that the dike breaks there. So I went down to the hey, Easy, yo, down here, hi. I said, can I borrow an Easy cool down vest? You see, I'll model it for you, and that way I can send people down here and show them where they can buy one. So he gave me one, he put it on me, and I was, these things work. Do they work or what? Are they amazing? God damn. I was surprised. Fuck thermodynamics. I want one. So I'm upstairs parading around this Easy cool down vest. Not only was I extremely comfortable, but I found that I could raise a significant amount of money for charity. For €5, I was giving away Easy cool down hugs. These poor overheated people, I'd say, for €5, I'll hug you. And they'd fork over the money, I'd hug them, they'd be like, oh, you're so cold. Which I ordinarily hear, but in this case, I got money out of it. You'll get old someday. It's getting low, by the way. Hint. I do not have a financial interest in Easy Cool Down. I just admire the man for his creativity. I love you. You're my new best friend. Oh, look, it even has a British cap. Excuse me.
Never gets cold.
Real show now, thank you. Let me switch gears. Did I mention I run a convention? Did I mention Anthropon, that's right. Anthro something. No, that's right, Midwest Fur Fest, I forgot. Anyway. One of the basic tenets of Anthrocon is that the chairman is not allowed to make any decisions without running them past the board of directors. This came about from experience. Because the chairman may be a scientist, but he's still a fucking moron. The chairman has brilliant ideas. And then the board of directors tells him they're not brilliant, and the chairman gets his tit in a wringer and gets all pissy. But then finds out that the board of directors was right. But in this case, the chairman knew he was right. You see where this is going, don't you? We had a baseball theme that year. Americans love our baseball. Nobody knows how it works, but we love it anyway. It's kind of like cricket, but not. Anyhow, what I said, oh, this would be a great idea. I'll have custom-made baseball uniform jerseys made for our super sponsors. They'll love them. And I told the board of directors, they said, we don't think that's a good idea. I said, yes, it is! And I'm going to do it whether you like it or not. Because the fursuit parade outdoors was my idea, that worked, didn't it? So I ordered these. They were coming from China. How could that go wrong?
Oh dear.
Our convention starts on Thursday. On Tuesday, I got a phone call from our supplier. When the conversation starts with your blood pressure goes up. And the longer the goes on, the higher the blood pressure gets. Until you beg the person, please stop, because you're gonna die. This went on for about 3 minutes. And after the defibrillator, the lady said, there's been a small delay in the shipment of your baseball jerseys, but we hope to have them tomorrow. I said, well, so do I, for your sake. See, I'm American. We have this thing called the Amendment. And I'm a patriot. I told that to the lady. I said, this is not a threat. Yet. You will have these here tomorrow because my registration is going to open on Thursday. And they'll be here tomorrow, won't they? And she said, yes. I said, perfect, we're still friends, goodbye. The next day, I got a phone call, and she said, we're still working on it. I said, remember our conversation yesterday? I'm not going to repeat it in case you're recording this call. Let's just say that I'd like to remain friends. Thursday morning, she called and she said, I have good news. I said, they're here. She said, no, they're in Tokyo. Okay, how is this good news? She said, well, they're not in China anymore. I said, that's not going to save you. I've got super sponsors registering today. Will they be here tomorrow? She said, I hope so. I said, yes, you do. There is an old saying in furry fandom, I don't know where it comes from, but it's often repeated, you don't fuck with Uncle Kage. Nobody does. Sorry, I was stupid. For the past 25 years. Don't get old, you won't like what happens. Sorry, where was I? Oh yes, the baseball jerseys, right? Friday morning came. I didn't get a phone call. I called her and got her voicemail. I didn't realize I do this This was news to me, and it was after years where my staff finally told me. You know, in poker, you have a tell. Some little thing that you do that communicates to your opponent, your mindset. Apparently, when I am not to be spoken to, I'm on the phone and I do this. I didn't realize that I do this. I think it goes back to my southern heritage. I come from an area of the country where tornadoes are extremely popular. And I'll just do this increasingly tight circle, getting louder and louder, and pissing off the sound guy. I'm very, very sorry. Whoa, hang on. Woo. Don't get old, you won't like what happens. Age, not this. Wow. Remind me not to tell this story then, okay? Whew. I was, shall we say, vexed. However, 10 o'clock that morning, my phone rang. Don't call me at Anthrocon, because I will answer this way. What? Oh, Joaquin Baldwin, how are you? I've been apologizing to him ever since. And a voice said, "This is FedEx. We have an international shipment for Arthrocon." I said, "Close enough, yes." She said, "We need your United States tax identification number to process the shipment." I said, "No problem, here it is." Blah! I know it by heart. I've been putting it on our government paperwork for 20 years. She said, "Thank you," and she hung up. But 2 minutes later, she called back. And she said, "That's not the right number." I said, "Yes, it is." "Really?" Maybe I read it to you wrong. And I gave it to her again. She said, that's what you said, but that's not the right number." I said, "Well, here we have a small problem, because that is actually the right number. And I am a psychotic with murderous tendencies, and I have your phone number now. And we should probably take care of this very, very shortly." She said, "Well, I'm sorry, we put that into the computer and it came up with a different organization." And I said, "But that's our number." She said, "Well, according to the IRS, the Inland Revenue of the US, that's not your number." I said, "Well, let me take care of that." So I called our Internal Revenue Service. Fortunately, when you call a government office in the United States, you get a live person just like that. No, I made that up. I was on hold for 45 minutes, and I was starting to wear a pattern in the carpet. It's still there, I think. I'm not going to do that too much after what happened a moment ago. Yeah. No, it's a piece of cork.
Shouldn't be corking that.
Anyway, we'll pretend it's high class. Incidentally, oh, here it is. When I first asked, "Can I have wine on stage?" the nice folks in the back said, "We can only provide water," which they did. They kept up their end of the bargain. Pro tip, fish fucking this. Sorry, where was I? Oh yes, calling the IRS. I called them, and after 45 minutes, I got a nice lady. And she said, "Hello." I said, "Hello, you have to help me. This is Anthrocon, not Arthrocon. This is Anthrocon. I've got, FedEx says this is not my number. And I need to fix this." And she said, "Well, what number are you supposed to have?" I said, and I gave her the number. She said, "Yes, that's your number. Thank you for calling. Goodbye." I said, No, wait. I need something from you to prove to FedEx that this is my number so they can send my international shipment. She said, "Oh, right. What's your fax number?" I said, Fax? This is 2017, Miss. I don't think they still have those. And she said, well, I need a fax number. And I said, can't you just email it to me? And she said, no. The US government can only send faxes. That explains a lot, doesn't it? Yeah. I said, I don't have a... Oh, wait. I'm at a convention center. This is a business. I ran to the secretary's desk, all out of breath. Hi, I need the convention center's fax number. And she looked at me and she said, fax? I said, I already made that joke. Look, wait, there's a business card. Hey, hang on. Hello, IRS person. I have a fax number. It says 412. Here, send it to this fax number. And she said, okay, I'll send it to you. And she hung up. And the lady at the desk said, I don't think we have a fax. I said, but it says on here you have a fax. She said, I don't think we do. I said, wait! She said, what's that sound? I know that sound. That's a fax. She said, I never heard it before. I said, follow me. Listen, it's getting louder. It's getting, oh, wait, no, wait, over here. Please keep going. There was a disused cubicle with a bunch of boxes with dust and cobwebs and birds' nests on it. And I pushed all the boxes aside. There was this old 1993 vintage fax machine, and the lights were coming on for the first time in 30 years. She said, what's that? I said, a museum piece. It doesn't matter. Here comes a piece of... There's no paper. Fuck, I need paper. Give me paper. Jesus Christ. Paper. It comes out. Remember that? Sorry, I'm having a flashback. It's okay, it's all over. This happens to all chairmen. I had the fax. It said, Dear FedEx, this is Anthrocon's number. Love the IRS. So I took a picture of it with my phone, and I sent it, with my phone. Let's get here. and I sent it to the lady at FedEx. And she called back, she said, okay, yes, our records were incorrect. Thank you very much for that number. We can release the international shipment. Your EZ cool-down vests are on their way. I said, what, excuse me? My what? She said, your EZ cool-down vests? I said, is that EZ cool-down vests? She said, well, yes, that's what you're expecting, right? I said, yes. Was there anything else on the order? She said, no, just these. I said, that's fine. They'll be here? She said, yes. I said, thank you. And I went down to the dealer's room, where I saw an 80-foot-tall Dutchman on his phone doing this. And I said, yo, easy. Down here. Are you waiting for your cool-down vests? He said, yes, I'm waiting for my cool-down vests. I said, okay, I have cleared them through customs for you. You owe me a case of wine and a blowjob. I will state for the record, and that's why I asked if Easy is here, I have not yet received my case of wine. Wow, how much much time do I have? Doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep going until you tell me to stop. You're so kind. Thank you. Thank you very much for supporting my self-destructive behavior.
Just push the red button.
The red button? Not working. A number of years ago, I went to visit a friend. I know him by a different name. He's in the furry fandom. He goes by a different name now. I think we call him Kyle Gold. He's a writer. We've been friends for a hell of a long time. And I went to visit him in his home state, and we went to a shopping mall, and they had an art installation. And the interesting thing about this, I hope I didn't bore you. Oh, you gotta pee, that's okay. Name it over, everything comes out okay. I know the feeling that happens. They were having an art installation, and what they had done was they had taken some local school children in the age range of about 6 to 10. I don't know what the equivalent is here, but that was their age ranges. 6 to 10-year-olds, and the assignment had been make up a character, draw a picture of the character, and write a few sentences about the character. That's us, isn't it? I was like, oh, let's see if there's any furries here. We'll be able to tell right away. Here's a possibility, Mr. Bun Bun. That's a proto-furry, no doubt. How about this one? Mr. Puppy. Oh, that's adorable. Mr. Puppy. That's so sweet. That's a furry. How about this? Oh. Hey, Kyle. Check this out. It was a circle with a smaller circle and some rays coming out of it and a large black line going into it. And the little scrawled child's handwriting said, Mr. Eye of Death has only one eye, his other eye was poked out with an ice pick. And this one must have sat next to him. Because here's this amorphous green character with a frowny face. This is from an 8-year-old. And the little narrative said, Snot Man is a depressed middle-aged guy who lives with his mom. That happened a long time ago. I'm positive that when I tell the story at Anthropon, there's going to be some kid in the audience doing this. Yes! I want to meet these kids. Because they were all of us years ago, weren't they?
Yeah.
What else is on this piece of paper?
Words.
With the jerseys.
What?
What happened with the jerseys?
Yeah. Did you get them?
Yeah, high school shirts.
You know, I was kind of hoping not to have to remember that. All right. What happened with the jerseys? Monday afternoon. Our closing ceremonies are Sunday night. Monday afternoon, I got a call from the distributor suddenly saying, they're here! I said, we're not. And she was very contrite, very apologetic, and she said, what can we do to make it right? And I said, well, Easy Wolf's already taken care of that, but, sorry, I got lost for a moment, I'm back. If you're willing to mail these out to my super sponsors, then we'll say everything's forgiven. She said, yes, we will. And I gave them the list and they mailed everything out to our super sponsors. might have been the end of the story. I wish it was. I'd be much happier if it was. Because I started getting communications from my super sponsors. Antagon super sponsors pay about $300 fucking, by the way. Extra. And let's put it this way. The definition of a large t-shirt in America is very different from the definition of a large t-shirt in China. Because the people who had ordered 3 extra large, no. It was, we're not going to be doing that again. And the board of directors made me sign a document that stated that I would have no further ideas without their approval, which I signed. They then had it notarized and sent back to me in a cherry wood frame with orders to hang it over my computer. Here it hangs to this day. If you watch my monthly wine streams, if you look in the background, that's what that is.
So what? Did the people who ordered the small shirt, did they go just get one like the size?
The people who ordered the small shirts were able to put them on their plushies. Their Beanie Baby plushies. Chinese people are not very big. I mean, look how many they gotta fit them in. What?
I'm Chinese.
Do you understand Cantonese?
Yeah.
Du le normal. Somebody understands Cantonese. I'm sorry, that's the only phrase I know. I was told it could come in handy at the airport. I have to try it now. I don't know what it means, but I'm excited to try it. There's a... What? See, I'm always suspicious because What? Sorry?
It means fuck you up.
Your mom. Thank you, I've been educated. All right, further my education. How would you say fuck your mom in Welsh? Maybe I shouldn't go there. There's a bunch of stories here, but they're all long stories. I don't have that much more time. Stuff. Oh, stuff. Any staff members of this amazing convention here? First off, God bless you. You guys are doing a fantastic job. The rest of you, if you're not aware, these folks are not paid for what they do. They are here working their fingers to the bone, suffering incredible stress, basically beating themselves ragged for the sole purpose of you having fun. When you see that staff badge, you must thank these folk. Unless they work for me. It's my job to beat them black and blue. Because I'm the chairman, goddammit. A number of years ago, this was the way we did things in the old days. When we had to load up the truck with all the equipment, we would send word out, we need volunteers. Please come help us. We might get 30 people, we might get 10 people, we might get 2. There were a couple of years where I was up till 3 a.m. with 2 other people unloading 8.5 tons of equipment into a storage facility. A number of years ago, a group of fellows accompanied the truck back to its headquarters, and they helped me unload. I was very grateful to them. And the next morning, I took them to breakfast to feed them, because I should. And I was sitting there like this. This is the chairman's morning after look. And I spent the entire breakfast like this. And the fellows said, you know, Uncle Kage, you're going about this all wrong. You can't depend on volunteer labor. You need to have an actual dedicated crew that handles logistics for you, staff members whose entire job is to handle the equipment. And while they said this, I did this. Go on. They said, yes, a specific logistics department, and their entire task is to know where everything is at one time. And I said, really? You're hired. And they said, but I said, too late. Because that's how we get staff members at Ampercon. You simply show competence. I can smell competence. It's like blood on the water for a shark. I can see it in the audience. Suddenly I'll be like, talk to me after the convention. You ever noticed I never go out in the sunlight? So they became my logistics group. We don't call them that because their first year, they did a fine job the first year, for the most part. I was very, very happy. And then I got an email from the director of my convention center saying, hello, this was fun this weekend. What do you want us to do with all this stuff? I said, stuff? Stuff? And I forwarded it to these fellows, and I simply said, stuff? Apparently there was a large number of boxes with Ampercon stenciled on them that had gotten left behind. Since that day, this department is now known as the Stuff Crew. They handle the stuff. I've not let them forget that. But neither have they let me forget another time I had an idea. Remember that document I signed?
Oh dear.
That was with the board of directors. That wasn't with the Stuff Crew. We have a lot of equipment on wheeled carts that we had to load onto this rented giant, 24-foot truck. I had a brilliant idea. We'll wheel the carts on, and I'll buy these whopping great airline wheel chocks, and we'll put them under the wheels, and that will hold these carts in place. Yes, they will. I'm a scientist. Fuck you. I know how physics works.
I went to the LLC, I know that stuff.
Where were you when I needed you? Because my idea was sound on paper.
Straps. Yeah.
We put all of the carts in, and we put the wheel chocks under the wheels. And we started down the motorway. And a ways away, I was talking to one of the guys, and I heard... That was odd. Did you hear? You heard that? Maybe we should pull over. We pulled over, and my Stuff Crew guy got out, and he went to the back, and I heard the rolling door go up. And he came back like this. I said, what? He said, you're not allowed to have an idea again. It was a good idea if we only existed in 2 dimensions. Because if the only forces were lateral, X and Y, those wheel chocks would have worked great. But the second you hit a bump and you introduce Z, well, there is a variable at this point. And I said, oh, the carts didn't damage the side of the truck, did they? And he said, no, the box of light bulbs broke the impact. I am the chairman of Anthrocon. Today my role is limited to signing the checks. I'm not allowed to do anything else. They won't let me get programming is completely off limits. With good reason. But that's a story for the bar because I'm afraid I've had my hour. And that's all that's been allotted to me. I want to thank you all for your very, very kind attention. So this is all the time I have, but later on tonight, I'm likely going to be in the bar. Like there was any doubt. So if there's anything you would like to discuss, any questions you have, I would very, very happily entertain them then. But for the nonce, let's get this room ready for the next event. Thank you all once more.